Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I've got one of the veterans of Facebook advertising here with me, David Schloss. So David is, first off, awesome guy, really knows what he's doing when it comes to scaling Facebook ad performance and helping companies make a ton of money online using Facebook ads, which is why I have him in my book, Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-commerce 2019 edition. And that's also why I've scheduled this Facebook Live to be able to introduce David to you if you don't know him already. And this way we can also dive into some of the biggest strategies and nuggets in the book that David contributed to. So David, I'd love if you could maybe just tell the audience a bit about yourself, maybe just for the next 60 seconds, and then we'll dive into the good stuff.
Sure. So I have been running ads on Facebook for what seems like 10 years now. I got started on the platform when it literally opened up to the public from an ad platform standpoint. And so, I've been there during the dark and ugly days, the glory days, like the mid like 2010 to 2013, type of range, and all the way up to now when everyone's going a little crazy. But
Yeah.
I love this platform. It's what I work on every day. We have an agency now with a little over 30 clients that we manage, nearly $3 million a month on Facebook and Instagram alone. And so, I love this stuff. It's what I talk about on podcasts and web shows and speak about on stage. It's practically my life if you think about it. And so, this is the platform that honestly changed and revolutionized a lot of what I planned to do in business. It actually became the business. And at the same time, it's like I couldn't have been more thankful, because it's really opened my eyes to, the opportunity of creating more businesses, working with new people in their businesses, and becoming more of a holistic marketer than just a one-trick pony.
Totally. I hear you, man. And you're responsible for so much ad spend right now per month. How does that help you learn so much more than maybe someone that's spending no more than $1,000 a month in ad spend?
It's really just because there's that available pool of ad spend that allows me to test every possible thought that goes through my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I have 20 pieces of creative, there is no waiting to test 5 at a time. It's let's test all 20 at the same time. Let's go ahead and do 5 a day for the next, 4 days. It's whatever combination I could think of, I'm able to do it on the fly. And with someone who is spending, $1,000 a month or a week or a day, even the amount of testing that I'm able to accomplish is exceeding more than most advertisers can accomplish in, let's say, a 3 or 6 month span, just because I'm able to launch all these different variables across multiple accounts, multiple industries, and test any sort of theory or hypothesis that I can come up with.
Sure. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, the pace of testing is dictated by your ad spend, really, because if you have a big ad spend budget, then you can test much faster, you can test more things. Whereas when you have a smaller ad spend budget, it takes months sometimes to run a good, split test, depending on what that split test is. And you have to be really committed to the process, which is what we tell our clients at CVO. I'm going to just dive in because, I really want to make sure that we get into some of the good stuff here. Now, let me just tell the audience real quick. So we have, in my book, we have a chapter called The Good Stuff. And very simple, straight to the point chapter where it's basically just bulleting all the takeaways from all the contributors to the book, including David. So I'm going to go ahead and have David basically kind of talk to some of the big kind of takeaways from the book. So we can expand on those. And so this way you can get a lot of value out of this video that you're watching. So with that said, one of them is about brand story and positioning. Without going into what's in the book, because I want you to check out the book, get all the value from the book. It's only 99 cents on Amazon right now until the 15th of November. Can you tell us a little bit about what you feel like is the most effective way to get your brand story out and get you and have the right positioning for your business when you're using Facebook advertising?
Sure. So what most of my clients are doing these days, because this is something that I've noticed has been helping quite a bit with getting brand trust and having people who are looking to buy from you just make the decision to buy versus doing a bunch of research on you and really taking their time, is micro content that just simply tells the story of what it is that you do and how you do it. And also the people on your team. So oftentimes, let's say from an agency standpoint, right? I have 7 people on my team. I could technically get every single one of these people to create their 1 minute story. Who are they? What do they do for the agency? How did they get into this, and how has it impacted their life? That little bite-sized content of those little pieces to the story give people a connection, creates a relationship. And what I might say may not align with someone, but what one of my ad managers might say might align with that person that's looking at it in that real time. Same thing goes with an e-commerce brand. When I am looking at Instagram and I'm seeing ads that pop up these days of, let's say, like a smart suitcase, right? TSA friendly, all this good stuff. That's cool. I want it. $400, I'll pay it, right? It's all that is cool. But when I find out that, the reason why this was built was because the CEO of the company kept getting flagged for his bag, even though his bag was totally compliant. They kept saying he had things in his bag he didn't have. I completely align with that story because I've been through it too. Yep. So naturally, that's going to get me to buy the product, not the fact that it's a cool suitcase or a cool bag. Yep. And so I tell people, even if it's a minute long, put something out there around your story. You can have a 5-part story, right? First part is about how this all started, why this all started, what was put into the product. Just like, chunk it all down. And naturally, you'll grab the attention of your user because attention spans on platforms like Facebook and Instagram are getting shorter and shorter. So why not create something that someone can consume really quickly?
So what would you tell like an e-commerce owner that maybe, doesn't feel that they have enough of a story to put out, to a cold audience? They probably, have that mindset where I don't know if people are going to care about my story or my product story. Like, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So it doesn't always have to be about them, right? So if you get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm doing great. My business is great. Like, no one could really align with me because everything's just great, right? So you have to look at it from the standpoint of what can this product do from a story standpoint. So let's use an iPhone.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. What's the story behind the iPhone? Okay. We can always go back and look at Steve Jobs. We could look at Apple and all that. But when you see an iPhone commercial, it tells a story of someone else, right? There's been those commercials of like, the guy who's, dropped his phone and he's like, I don't have a phone anymore. And he sees all these people. That's actually a Samsung commercial, but it's the same thing of like, he's seeing all these people with iPhones. He wants an iPhone too. And what is their experience with the iPhone? Great pictures. They have the AirPods, like all this stuff. And it's like it's a FOMO. It's the fear of missing out element, right? So there's a story there. At the same time, I've seen people tell the story of like how this changed their business, right? So for me, it's like if someone was showing like little clips of like a businessman on the phone call talking to, family or talking to clients, or maybe it's like I can do a video conference to someone who's across the world. And that's a story and it doesn't involve me, right? It's just clips of other things that this item can do for you. And that same thing could be done with your products. Even if you're selling a piece of jewelry, the jewelry tells a story, right?
Yeah.
So, it's really just a matter of, can you create that story around your product? If you can't, you're going to end up finding it's a lot harder to sell than you thought.
I know. And especially in today's Facebook advertising, right? I mean, 10 years ago, was it hard? I mean,
cheap. Right. It's cheap. It's $5 a day and I'll get 1,000 clicks. I'm like, okay, let's keep going. Right? But
right. You do that anymore. And you didn't have to emphasize brand story or products or the story of your product or, your product differentiation quite as much either.
Nope.
It was a wide open field, with very little competition.
Yeah. It was just, here's my product, buy it. There really wasn't much else to a story. Right. And a lot of a social network like Facebook is now you're actually building relationships with people. So the ones who are buying from you, some will buy because it's a great piece of tech or a great product. Others will buy because of the story. So you kind of have to have a mixture of both.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And I'm just making that point because, I've connected with different e-commerce, business owners, whether it's clients or, non-clients. And, there's still that presumption that, you could just throw an offer ad out and, get sales profitably, more often than not. There's still some opportunity there for sure, in different markets, if there's less sophistication, less competition, you've got a really good offer, really good ad, really good funnel. But, I've been trying to communicate this with a lot of e-commerce business owners, when I meet them and talk to them. This way I can, teach them that, right now, you've got to really focus on brand too. It's not just your marketing and your message and your offer and your hook, but you've got to have a strong brand that really builds that relationship. It builds trust with the audience that you're attracting and that you have in your funnel as well. I mean, do you agree with me on that?
100%. 100% agree.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And then, so I know you have a really good decreasing discount offer that you share in the book. Do you think maybe you can kind of speak to that a bit? I know, and just to kind of refresh your memory about the book. So in the book, you go into great detail about this, but the highlight of it in the good stuff chapter is from days 1 through 3, you offer a 15% discount in the advertisement in your retargeting follow-up when someone has seen a product and they haven't purchased it. And then days 4 to 6, you go to a 10% discount. And then days 7 to 9, you go to a 5% discount. And again, in the book, you go into more detail as far as like the messaging around it and, how to structure everything and things like that. But, just to put you on the spot and to provide some value here, can you expand on that here live?
Sure. So keep in mind that cascade of increase or decrease of discount is available both ways, meaning on the day 1 through 3, you technically could offer 10% and then go from 10% to 15 on 4 to 7, right? So the discount becomes more and more. The reason why I mentioned in the book to do it the opposite is because now you start to create this behavior with people that they don't want to wait too long to make a decision before that discount disappears. I was actually hit with this the other day. I was going to go buy a watch. The watch is expensive. They were offering a 10% discount if I went back to the cart and just bought it. And I said, whatever. I know this trick. I'm good.
You're like, I'm an advertiser. I do this.
I'll go back a couple of days from now. I'll probably get a 20% discount. It's all good. A couple days later, I think about 4 days later, I was hit with 5%. I'm like, oh no. Like I was just hit with my own idea. Because
that's awesome.
They realize if you can't make a decision, then we're going to show you that, hey, your decision of waiting actually got you less of a discount. So maybe you want to get it right now. Now, the crazy thing
they bought the book. They probably just swiped your strategy.
They just grabbed the book. They're like, this is a great idea. And here's the thing. I contacted the company, and this is why I knew that it works perfectly. So I said, hey, I noticed I was getting a 10% discount. The discount says it's discontinued. Is there any way I can get it back?
Okay.
And they said, oh, yeah, no problem. As long as you use it in the next 24 hours. And when they sent me the code, it literally had a 24-hour limit to it. And the whole point of them doing that is like, look, urgency. If you want to make the decision, right? At the same time, you're creating that it's an incentive, but you're creating the conditioning of the audience to make their decisions faster. So that's why you'll see that your ads, in some cases, your day 1 through 3 of like a catalog campaign, a collection, or just generic retargeting in general, your first 3 days are usually your best days, usually. And then after that, it starts to slide down slightly, depending on how you frame your retargeting, all the way up to even if you want to go 180 days later, right? But I find that when you do that immediate impact of a coupon or a discount, and then they see that it changes on day 4, your email will get hit up quite a bit. It will, because people are going to go, hey, I want that discount back. And now you have them in that mentality of, I'm going to buy this right now, especially when you send them a code that has a 24-hour limit on it. It's like, well, you said you want it now, so here you go.
Yeah.
And you create
awesome.
An influx of sales. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you got hit with your own strategy, I mean, but yeah, I mean, it works because, when someone is interested in a product and they've, they've read the page, and maybe they've done some research even outside of the page, but they just don't buy, I mean, that doesn't mean that the desire isn't there. It is, especially if you've got a great offer and, they've really consumed a great page that has, a great message, creates emotion, has, a focus on benefits, for the end user that's visiting the page. I mean, there's a powerful pull there, and yeah, they didn't purchase right then and there, but that's just because, life happens, things come up, they get distracted, or, they're still kind of wishy-washy possibly, and they just need a little nudging essentially, and a nudge like that is a powerful nudge, and that's why it works so well. And, obviously, your story is a testament to that. So now, it's a great strategy. That's why it's in the book. Now, chatbots too. You share some really good chatbot strategies in the book, and one of them is about pre-framing and pre-qualifying the sales process to be able to, prime leads to get them, in a, mode, in a, behavior set where they're primed to be able to, purchase, your offer, when they connect, with a sales team or when they go back to, the sales page. Can you maybe expand on that here?
Sure. So I believe in the book I mentioned an example of like a product launch, right? So something that's coming out a bit later, a couple weeks, a month later. And that
Okay.
process still works really, really well
Yeah.
because what we often find is that teasing people up to the launch of a product tends to create a nice little boost of cash flow for the product, especially when you don't have to retarget and advertise to these people,
Hmm.
immediately up front because they're already a part of your bot list, right? And so
Right.
for some people, once again, an example, I've actually been through this myself as well. So even though I've created this campaign, it's like I went through the whole thing too. That's how this whole idea was put together in the first place. So,
Hmm.
new products coming out in 2 weeks, they start teasing, let's say it's a watch, right? They're teasing about
Yep.
the watch. They're doing, little demo reels of the watch. The CEO's talking about how they crafted it. Once again, brand story, introducing you to something new. It's not out yet, getting on a list, being prepared for
Hmm.
when it's coming out, early bird type of situation. And
Hmm.
the bot sort of, I wouldn't say forces you to hear about it, but it gets you in that position of like just being aware a lot faster. If it's sent through
Totally.
email, I could check it out later. If it's an ad, I could browse right past it. A chatbot, it's in your inbox. You're going to click it and you're going to read it because it's right there, right? And for some
Yep.
reason, readability in a bot or in an inbox like on Facebook is just exponentially higher. Even though most people are saying it's annoying, you still click it and you still look at it. So,
Right. You still look at it.
you still
Yeah,
look.
and if the copy's catchy, you're going to read it. If it's catchy, if it's good copy, and you're directing the right person into that automated conversation being delivered over Facebook Messenger, the bot. Some people may not know what that is,
Yeah.
so I should have reframed that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's a prime opportunity to be able to warm people up to the idea of purchasing your product, and you giving them a lot of great information up front and pre-qualifying them up front as well. This way, when they go to click to see the product and purchase it, or they click to speak to a sales rep, they're hungry, they're pre-qualified, they've already received a ton of great information. Now it's just a matter of just making sure that you address basically their questions and their concerns, and you show them an easy way to buy.
Let's take it another step further, right? So look at it from the case of like a Kickstarter campaign as a great example. What
Hmm.
happens? Product's not even out yet. They're creating basically pre-order funds to then mass produce a product.
Hmm.
Imagine that same sort of style promotion, but it's done through a chatbot where it's like
Totally. It's
pre-order
awesome.
sale, all these people can buy now. It's a 3-day sale. All these people pre-order their product. They get it first, right? They might get it next week instead of 2 or 3 weeks from now. And when those
Hmm.
people get their product, they're more susceptible to taking pictures with it, doing videos on it, leaving reviews on your
Yep.
site. So by the time that product is live, you have a page with reviews. You got people who've taken pictures on Instagram and Facebook. And then when it goes live, that pre-order sale value is not there anymore. So your pre-order could have been $100, but your regular sale is going to be $199. So
Hmm.
all these people who missed out on the pre-order sale, who didn't buy then, who were part of your bot, you could still incentivize them and say, hey, look, I know that you missed out on the opportunity to buy during our pre-order sale. We'll give you $50 off your purchase. And now they can get it for $150 instead of $200. Once again,
Right.
all these people are going to see that. You're going to get buyers from that too. And then naturally, all the ones who missed both the opportunity of a pre-order and the second opportunity to buy are just going to have to buy it at the regular price. But you've
Yep.
already teased
Nice.
thousands of people about this product. So you're still going to get sales at $200, right? So
Totally. You've built buzz.
exactly. You've built buzz. You're cascading the price influence, so to speak, and
Hmm.
people are still going to buy it at double that amount, even if they knew that at pre-order it was $100. Because
Yeah.
like Kickstarter, some people can get in something now when it's $200, but when it goes live on the general marketplace, it's going to be $500. But all they had to do was wait and hope that they got their product, 6 months later. So
Yep.
you're doing this more in a fashion of this might be a 2 or 3 week span. You already have the product. You're really just building buzz. That's all you're doing. But you're doing it with
Yep.
the people who already interact with you. And so,
Nice.
you're
And you're
creating.
getting them as a subscriber, using that approach as opposed to Kickstarter. I mean, and Facebook Messenger, getting your subscribers now while it's cheap easy in a way. That's smart because, it's like generating an email list early on, 10, 15 years ago when email was first a thing. This is the time to start doing that. So that's a, phenomenal share. Thank you, David. Well, I want to, be respectful of your time. How can someone, follow up on this and follow you and get to know you and your company?
Sure. So if you want to work with me directly, talk to me directly, you could always email me. So david@convertroi.com. You could
Nice.
also go to
Love
my
the name.
profile where I am posting amazing stuff from my rep every week from Facebook. So if you want to learn more about stuff going on in Facebook, facebook.com/SCHLOSSY. And I know you've seen them. It's incredibly.
Oh yeah, you see my likes, my loves. I always hit that. And actually this morning I told Marissa on my team who manages our Facebook ad accounts. I was like, hey, you need to follow David. You need to check out these posts he's posting. Because like it's super valuable, man. I mean, you do a phenomenal job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the two main places I hang out. So whether you email me or you send me a message on my profile, that's totally fine, and we'll figure out what way and what capacity we can work together, whether it's just getting to know each other or maybe doing something consulting wise or ad management. You never know.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys. Well, this is David Schloss. He is a veteran. He is one of the best in Facebook advertising, period, also for e-commerce. And that's why he is in my book, Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-commerce, 2019 edition. Here is him right there. There we go. Yes. And all these other stellar people that you'll be hearing from soon. So go to Amazon now, pick up a copy of this. It's 99 cents right now as I say this. You can pick up a paperback version as well for 33% off. The price is going up on November 15th. So go now, get a copy. You don't want to miss all the strategies that David is sharing in this book. And be sure to follow David at convertroi.com as well. Thanks, David, man. It's been a pleasure connecting.
Appreciate it. Thank you.